Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Macon Campbell and this is maconSTUFF. Okay, so part 16, here we go. So here are the bellows. Over the weekend I finished gluing in the inner part of these exhauster hinges. So finally we have all the hinges installed for the bellows. Next part is going to be cutting and installing all of the valves that need to go in here. These ones which are the most important for now on the center panel of the bellows construction, which are going to be on the inside of the exhauster cavity. They need to go in now because once the bellows cloth is installed, I'm not going to be able to access this part. So just before we start, just something I would like to mention. I've been getting quite a few comments which I'm very thankful for, urging me not to go ahead with the contact adhesive or any other type of glue and get hold of proper bellows cloth. Now, as I mentioned before, as it stands, I've invested way too much time, effort and money for me to just go ahead and start from scratch. So I'm going to do everything in my power to get whatever I have available now to work, and rest assured, if my plans fail miserably, I will most definitely be going back to the drawing board. If that happens, I can tell you right now that is only going to happen next year. I'll obviously need to save quite a bit of money, do some research and make sure that I order everything that I need. Something as simple as the hot-eyed glue crystals I can't even get here or in neighboring South Africa. Everything I need I'm going to have to order abroad, which is going to cost me a whole lot of money. So I'm just going to push on and see how far I get. So I apologize to everyone who's given me great advice. As I said, I'm very thankful for it, but unfortunately doing it the right way is just not a viable option for me right now. So let's get these clamps off, test these exhauster hinges and move along. Okay guys, so it's around 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning, and since yesterday I've done pretty much nothing other than cut out the valves, wet them to flatten them out somewhat, but other than that I've done pretty much nothing. The truth is I'm just procrastinating because I've got absolutely no idea how I'm going to glue these bellows cloths in place. Now I've seen quite a bit of pictures online of people gluing bellows cloths up, but the problem is I have yet to find one video of someone physically gluing them in place. Now it might seem simple enough, but the moment you get to it and you start wondering how you're going to go about it, it just starts to seem harder and harder, especially the flat part around the base, because this is kind of a 90-degree glue up. You know, we've got a flat surface here and a 90-degree flat surface going around the side. Obviously the corners have to be slit so that they can glue in properly. So I'm going to have to kind of do this one side at a time. I can't do the whole glue up in one go, because by the time I'm finished spreading the glue where I started is probably going to be dry already. So I guess there's just no other option. I'm just going to have to dive into it and see how it goes. So what I'm going to do is on the base I'm going to mark out the width of the cloth that's going to be glued in, so I know where to apply my glue. Glue in the bellows cloth on the flat surface first, and when that's had enough time to dry, then I'll apply glue to the outside of this, bring it down and try and stick the cloth around the outside of the flap. But obviously before I can do that, I'm going to have to put the valves back in place. So hopefully, since yesterday, the flaps that I cut out have had enough time to dry, and I'm going to take them out of the clamps, and hopefully they're going to be nice and flat and I can get them installed. Let's do it. Well, there's at least one small success. The valves seem to be nice and flat. So these shorter, wider ones go on the inside of the exhausters on the center panel. These longer, thinner ones go across the outside of the exhauster panel. So I'm going to put these aside for now, get these ones ready to be installed. Okay, so we got the first cloth installed. Seems to be working okay. For how long remains to be seen. Now I just have to glue up the other exhauster. I'm going to do that off camera because it's going to be exactly the same process as what I did on this one. So I'll check back again as soon as this one is done. Okay, so I finished gluing up all the Bellows cloths yesterday and I let it stand overnight. I got my son to help me with the biggest one, which is the reservoir cloth going around the back here. We got a bit carried away and I forgot to get footage of half of it, but the only part you missed was gluing it to the bottom side. Basically it went the same as all the rest of them. I glued the bottom sides one by one and then reinforced them with the wooden strips that were there originally. So that helped keep them in place nicely so that we could glue the sides on. It should be fairly dry right now, so what I'm going to do now is trim away the excess, get it to look nice, and then I'll add reinforcing wherever I think it's necessary before we move on. Okay, so for those of you who were a little upset about how I went about doing this, what I'm about to do next is going to upset you even more. As with this wooden support piece going across the bottom of the reservoir, I've decided I'm going to add supports like this everywhere where the bellows cloth is glued to the wood, just for extra support. But I'm not going to be using wood like these. What I'm going to be using is this. This is aluminium strip. This is 12 millimeters wide, which is roughly the thickness of this wood, and it is 3 millimeters thick. I can't find any wood in this shape and size, and I really don't want to have to be cutting them all out. So I'm going to go with this, and I really think this is going to provide me a lot of extra security so these bellows cloths don't come loose over time. So now I'm going to measure all the parts that I need, and I'm going to cut them out, drill a couple of holes, countersink them, and I'm going to drive them in with tiny screws. So let's get started. Okay guys, it looks like we're nearing the end of this bellows reconstruction. Even though I may have gone a little overkill with all my aluminium supports and the nails that I put in here, and my bellows are more closely resembling Robocop than they do Bellows, I can't help it, but I'm feeling cautiously optimistic about what I've managed to achieve here. So all that's left basically to do is install the valves on the front of the exhausters. I have to replace the leather on the safety valve on the back of the reservoir and install that. I have to reinstall the top panel along with its support. So we're in the home stretch. Let's get it done. Okay, so I'm not too confident about this connection over here. This is how it was done originally, but I think I'm going to add one of these brackets over here. Now I know what you're thinking, but after everything I've already done to these bellows, at this point, what difference does it really make? So I'm just going to go ahead and put those in, and at least I'll have a little bit more peace of mind knowing that it is a little bit more structurally sound than what it would have been. Okay, the moment of truth is finally here. Everything is installed that needs to be installed. I've taped a hole shut along the top edge over here. I'm going to turn this thing around and I'm going to give it a test. Okay, the safety valve is obviously open now because it's upside down. I'm just going to take a small piece of tape and secure that in place so it doesn't go anywhere. Now I'm going to pump the exhausters, and what should happen is it should compress the reservoir. And the longer it stays compressed, the better the result. So here goes. That's so awesome, I can hardly believe it. That means that I have little to no air leaks. If I open the safety valve at the back, it should re-inflate pretty quickly here. So I'm just going to compress it a bit more and open up the valve at the back so you can have a look. Check this out. So even if I just compress it from behind here, if I close the safety valve, it holds at compression. Open it up. I'm so stoked that this is actually working, I can hardly believe it. After everything I've been through, I finally have a working set of bellows. That is just amazing. Okay guys, we have a completed and rebuilt set of bellows. Now 2 weeks ago I wouldn't have imagined saying those words. There were so many problems along the way, I just never thought I was going to get it done. I didn't have the right materials, I didn't have the right supplies, but after a lot of effort, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of blood, sweat and tears, I finally got it done. And just the fact that it works is the cherry on the cake. Seeing them work the way they're supposed to was just a sight for sore eyes, and I couldn't be happier. So the only major thing that's left now is the cabinet. And as with most of the things in this project, I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. But this project has proved me wrong around every corner. So there might still be a couple of headaches waiting for me regarding the cabinet. But anyway, it's the end of the year now. My kids' school holidays have already begun, so I'm not exactly sure if I'm still going to be able to bring out another part or two during this year. Obviously, if at all possible, I will still carry on with this project, but depending on what the plans are for our holidays, there is also a possibility that I will not be getting around to it and only be able to carry on earlier next year. So either way, you'll be seeing me as soon as possible. Once again, I'd just like to thank everyone that's watched this video, everyone that has been following this series, and also once again apologies to everyone who has given me such amazing advice on how I should have gone about rebuilding these bellows, but I'm not going to explain again all the reasons why it is sometimes hard for me to follow said advice. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure and leave me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, drop some comments down below. Share it with your friends. I am noticing that interest in reed organs across the internet is slowly growing. So hopefully this video and this series in general will be helpful for a whole lot more people in the future. So I'll see you in the next episode, and till next time, keep making stuff.